I just started recording. Okay, thank you all for joining today again on this journey of Gita wisdom, learning Gita wisdom to apply in our own life. So last week we are in the introduction. We'll continue the introduction and try to complete today. And from next week, we'll actually start BhagavadGita, starting chapter 1. Okay? Yeah, so this introduction is going to help us give a very strong foundation for our better understanding of the concepts given in Gita. It's very important. And that's the reason we have a third session on this. Yeah, you can all mute yourself. Last week we were discussing at a high level Vedic knowledge. What are Vedas? The word literally means Veda, the word literally means knowledge. Vedic knowledge has no human origin. It is apaurushaya. Apaurushaya means that which is of non-human origin. Because humans have defects, the 4 defects that human has, which is he has limited control, limited sense, perception in terms of his senses. He commits mistakes. There are a bunch of to err is human, right? That's what is mentioned. So anything that is human created, the wisdom that comes from human, generally is susceptible to change. Like for example, we have seen Newton's laws that was given centuries ago. That was not the highest truth. Now Einstein has the theory of relativity, which is a higher understanding than the prevalent understanding until then. Anything that comes from human, it's just matter of time. It is proven wrong, or a higher perspective comes about. But that's not so with Vedic knowledge, because it's a revealed wisdom. And primarily we have seen there are Shruti and Smriti broadly. Shruti is the revealed knowledge, revealed in the hearts of the saints, revealed by directly God himself. So that is primarily Vedas. And in the Smritis is basically remembered by the saints. Saints, once they understand the wisdom of scriptures, they put in their own words and share with their students. So that is Smriti. Primarily, we discussed about Puranas, Itihasas, Pancharatras. All these are all realizations of great saintly people. In the Vedas, the ultimate wisdom is in Upanishads. Upanishad is the summary, the most esoterical philosophical wisdom of the Vedas. Gita is considered as Upanishad because it is the summary of entire Vedic wisdom in a very short presentation. I'll not discuss in depth. So all the Vedic wisdom is primarily given to us by Vedavyas and his disciples. Vedavyas, he is a Trikalagna. He knows the past, he knows the present, and he knows the future. Understanding the limitations of the people of Kali Yuga, he has put the Vedic wisdom for the first time in the written form. Until then, the Vedic wisdom is coming in a oral way, meaning the teacher speaks to his students, the student absorbs it, and he passes on to the next generation. This is because the people of that age were so so potent in their memory. They are called Akasantagrahi. They used to just listen and just remember. Once they listen, they commit to their mind. But understanding the limitation of the people of Kali Yuga specifically, Vedavyas put them in writing for the first time. And Vedavyas primarily wrote on his own the Puranas, and Vedanta. Vedanta is his ultimate culmination work. The Vedanta that you see at the bottom in the six darshanas, that is his pinnacle of wisdom. At his ripened age, he has given that. After Vedanta, he has given one more thing, which is Srimad Bhagavatam. That's it. That's why Srimad Bhagavatam is considered like a natural commentary of Vedanta Sutras. Vedanta Sutra or Brahma Sutras are short aphorisms. Aphorism means like a sutra, like a short word, but which has a very, very deep meaning. It's very difficult to understand Vedanta Sutra directly. Vedanta Sutra is also known as Brahma Sutras. There are 555 Brahma Sutras, beginning with Athato Brahma Jignasa. The first aphorism, the first sutra of Vedanta Sutra is Athato Brahma Jignasa. What does that mean? Athato, now, therefore, inquire into absolute truth. Why now? Why not in the past? Why not in the future? The question arises, right? Now, because now that you have a human body, it is the time to inquire into absolute truth. Previously, you didn't have the human form. That time is not the time to inquire into the purpose of life. But now that you have human body, you can inquire into absolute truth. So in that way, Vedanta Sutra is the culmination of Vedic wisdom. And then finally, Srimad Bhagavatam was given by Vedvyas. I'll stop here about the discussion here about Vedas. Yeah, so another aspect is the primarily there is another analytical way of dividing the Vedic wisdom into Prasthanatraya, the primary three divisions of Vedic wisdom. One is called Shruti Prasthan, second is called Smriti Prasthan, and third is called Nyaya Prasthan. Shruti is primarily Upanishads. Of course, Vedas has other parts, but primarily Upanishads, which has Vedic instructions. And Smriti, of course, is the remembrance of great saintly people, which includes Puranas, Itihasas. And both present the overall message as same. It's Smriti presents in a very easy to understand format, while Shruti presents in a time insensitive way. Yeah, so that's the primary difference. But overall, wisdom wise, they are all same. And Nyaya Prasthan gives the logic. For example, we accept God exists, but the question is, how do you understand God exists? So in a very logical framework, the whole philosophy is presented in Nyaya Prasthan. Of course, BhagavadGita also presents that. So that is Vedanta Sutra. So the primary takeaway from Prasthanatraya is that the commentaries, if suppose there are all these sampradayas, bona fide sampradayas, each sampradaya has a philosophical conclusion that that is very specific to the sampradaya. As I mentioned, there are few bona fide sampradayas. We will come in to discuss that. It's mentioned here. So there is primarily Adi Shankara Acharya's Advaita school of thought, Ramanujacharya's Vishishta Advaita school of thought, Sri Madhvacharya's Advaita school of thought, Vallabhacharya's Shuddha Advaita school, Nimbarkacharya's Dvaita Advaita school, and Baladev Vidyabhushana or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Achinta Bedha Veda Tattva. So any sampradaya to be called bona fide means understanding to prove that their way of understanding Vedas is conclusive. They need to write commentaries on all the three prasthanas, Shruti, Smriti, and Nyaya. Basically, on Vedanta Sutra, they need to write some bhashya. Bhashya means their own interpretation. Smriti, on Smritis, they have to write, like Mahabharata, they have to Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita, they need to write their own understanding, as well as on Shrutis, on the Vedas also, primarily Upanishads, they need to write their commentaries. If they don't write, we cannot really accept that that particular sampradaya is bona fide, meaning it is in line with the original the understanding of the Vedic conclusions. So anytime we study scriptures, it is always better to refer to the books from these sampradayas. Then you know the understanding is intact. Now let's discuss a little more about so these are the Vedanta sutras explained by different sampradayas. For example, the Ramanujacharya sampradaya, their book is called Sri Bhashya, and Sri Madhvacharya's book is called Purna Prajna Bhasya. Means they write the understanding of Vedanta Sutra as per the conclusive understanding as per their sampradaya. And all of these are bona fide, by the way. There is nothing, you can follow any of these books and come to the ultimate understanding of the purpose of life, who is God, who am I, But no, there is a relative distinction between them, but overall they're all considered bona fide. Except, these are all Vaishnava Sampradayas, and this one is called Mayavad Sampradaya, which we don't follow in terms of, we are Vaishnavites, meaning we take to the Vaishnava conclusions. Yeah, so these are the Sampradayas just we were talking about. And just to recap, we discussed about Sampradaya last week. Sampradaya refers basically the Vedic wisdom. Originally, God has given to these specific heads of the Sampradayas. The Brahma Sampradaya is headed by Brahmaji. Lakshmi Sampradaya or Ramanuja Sampradaya is headed by Lakshmi Devi. Rudra Sampradaya is again a Vaishnava Sampradaya, though it looks like it's not Shaivite Sampradaya. It is a Vaishnava Sampradaya called Rudra Sampradaya. And then Kumar Sampradaya, 4 Kumaras, who are the sons of Brahmaji. So these are the first proponents of the Sampradaya. These personalities, they are in direct relationship with God, and so they have received the wisdom and they have passed on to the next generation of students, and then it continued. And for example, the purports that we are going to study is coming under Brahma Sampradaya. And in this line, the primary the most recent acharyas were Madhvacharya of Udupi and Lord Chaitanya of West Bengal. They are the recent, meaning last few hundreds of years back. If you go, these are the people who have stood for the Sampradaya and propagated this widely. And of course, for Lakshmi Sampradaya or Ramanuja Sampradaya, it is Ramanujacharya. We know, if you are from Andhra, basically the Tirupati or Simhachalam, all these temples, they follow actually Ramanujacharya Sampradaya, the lineage under Ramanujacharya. Yeah, and then Rudra Sampradaya, and it is represented by Vishnu Swami and Vallabhacharya, and their Bhashya is called Sarvajna Bhashya. And similarly, Kumar Sampradaya, headed by Kumaras, and then their recent Acharya was Nimbarkacharya, and this is their Bhashya, Parijata Saurabha Bhashya. Yeah, so the conclusions are slightly different, but overall they accept the so if you take any of the sampradayas, they primarily accept these conclusions about existence. There are two classes of living entities, fallible and infallible. All the living entities in this living world who are struggling with their mind and senses are called fallible, which is, like most of us in the material world. And the residents of spiritual world whose desires are one with Krishna's desire. These are living entities in the Vaikuntha planets. Yeah, so these are living entities. And then besides the living entity, there is Paramatma, or the super soul, the maintainer, the God of all that exists. That is Paramatma. And finally, yeah, so maintainer of the three worlds. And then Purushottama. Of course, Paramatma is the manifestation within each heart. For example, in my heart, there is Paramatma. In your heart, there is Paramatma. In ant's body, there is Paramatma. In every body, there is Paramatma. Right? That's a reflection of God. It's like, suppose there is sun in the sky, and you have water parts on the on the ground. There are like 100 water parts, each filled with water, and the sun in the sky reflects in the water part. You see, the same sun in the sky is now seen in each of the parts. Similarly, the God who exists beyond the material world also expands out of his love and compassion for each living entity. He also, as a good friend, stays with the jiva. The jiva means the one that I described above in one. As a friend, he accompanies him everywhere he goes. Maybe today he's in the human form, tomorrow he becomes an animal, or tomorrow he goes to become a demigod. Doesn't matter. He's always there with the jiva as long as he's in the material world. And then ultimately Purushottama, the source of everything, even Paramatma, is also beyond the fallible and infallible. He is the source of Brahman, Paramatma. We'll understand what does it mean by Brahman, Paramatma, all of that. He's the greatest. Yeah, so all the scriptures accept these three truths. Yeah. Just to differentiate between Vedic wisdom and the wisdom of the current world, or human generated wisdom. The Vedic wisdom is complete, infallible, beyond and beyond mistakes, because it is apaurishaya. We discussed this. It has no defects like this. Any knowledge that comes from human beings has these four defects, because humans have imperfect senses. For example, I can't see beyond certain limit. If it is dark, I can't see. I can hear certain range of sounds. I can't hear anything and everything. We have limitations. So we cannot know everything perfectly because we have limited senses. Not only that, we commit mistakes. To err is human. Nobody is beyond mistake, isn't it? Nobody can claim that he never commits mistakes. Similarly, we get illusion. Sometimes you see a stick in water. It appears as if it is it is tilted, but it's not. We often get illusioned by our senses. And similarly, to cover up our mistakes, we all also try to cheat. Cheat meaning we cover up our mistakes. So these are, any knowledge that comes from human beings will be filled with these four defects. So it can never be perfect. That's why it keeps changing over a period of time. It can be centuries, it can be days, it can be months, it can be years, doesn't matter, but it changes. Any knowledge that comes from human has always the scope to improve. But Vedic knowledge is not like that. It is beyond correction because it is directly given by God. Yeah, Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all the Vedic scriptures, and so we should accept it without interpretation. If we add any human ideas there, it loses its purity and purpose. And it is not a matter of research, it comes down in parampara. Yeah. All the research, I mean, there is no research. It is if God himself gives, why there is a question of research? Research is you're trying to find something unknown. But here, the all-knowing God is giving the wisdom, so there is no need to do any further research. I mean, you can do research to apply these principles. That is there, that is good, but beyond that, there is no way to improve it. It's already perfect. Comes in a disciplic succession. If any of the line of teacher in the line of teachers, if anybody misinterprets the message, the message potency is gone. So we have to accept in a bona fide sampradaya, follow in a try to learn from a bona fide sampradaya. Do not just randomly learn Gita from any random book on the on the topic. There are so many, almost there are 700 editions of Gita right now available, but almost 99% of the people presenters presented their own ideas. They haven't actually given the original purpose of the Gita. That's because they do not represent a sampradaya. Their wisdom is their own. It's not coming in a bona fide line of teachers. Yeah. Now let's quickly understand the goal of human life. Human life is a very rare opportunity. You may see billions of human beings, but in the entirety of existence, that is minuscule. To have a human form, in the Upanishads, it's mentioned the rarity of human being, the getting the human form. It is mentioned, suppose in the Pacific Ocean, there is a tortoise. Okay, there is a tortoise floating in the Pacific Ocean, somewhere in the middle. And somewhere else in the same ocean, there is a piece of wood floating again. What is the chance of this tortoise pushing its head through the hole of the wood? That is how rare to get the human form. So we should utilize it for the best purpose. We should not waste human form. We should, by understanding Gita and applying it, we actually realize the potential of the human life and perfect our human life. And what does Gita is? What is the purpose of life? We have to purify our existence and re-establish our real relationship with God. Yeah, that that is also called self-realization. Self-realization means understanding who you are truly, understanding your real swarupa. Swarupa means your true identity. That is also called re-establishing our relationship. Yoga means connecting, reconnecting. Yeah. Another important concept, we discussed this a little bit before, Sanatan Dharma. Dharma, by the way, the Bhagavad Gita is not a religious text. It teaches Sanatana Dharma. What is Sanatana Dharma? Sanatana Dharma, Sanatana literally means eternal. Dharma means that exists, the property that exists. So, for example, if you want to call something as, what is the Sanatana Dharma of fire? If you take fire, it must have two qualities. One is heat, second is light. If there is no heat or there is no light, then it cannot be called fire, right? If there is no heat, it cannot be fire. Similarly, if you take sugar, sugar must be sweet, right? If sugar doesn't have sweetness, it's not sugar anymore. So the property that accompanies an object always, and removing which completely takes away its uh, you know its existence, that's called dharma or sanatana dharma. Dharma is a characteristic, sanatana means eternal. If something that must be there with an object eternally, that is called sanatana dharma of the object. Now for the jiva, we are all jiva. Jiva means the individual soul. What is the sanatana dharma of the individual soul? The sanatana dharma of the individual soul is to serve in relationship with God. That is the eternal function of the jiva. Even in this world, if you take anybody, nobody can stay without serving others. For example, the husband serves the wife, wife serves the husband, wife serves the children, husband serves the children, president serves the country. Similarly, everywhere, manager serves the employee, so employee serves the manager. So service, to serve is the nature of jiva. So that is the eternal function of jiva. Now, we are used to serving in this world, all the different living entities. But when we redirect our service towards God, that is called the higher dharma, right? So we have um, we have we have the duties for our body, related to our body. We also have duties towards our soul. The duties towards our body are, maintaining family by serving the family, right? Taking care of the physical needs. All of that is bodily dharma. Similarly, we also have eternal duty towards God, to ultimately to realize ourselves. So that is our higher dharma or sanatana dharma. Yeah, this we discussed.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah, Haribol.
Prabhu, somebody's waiting for the password, so somebody wants to like join.
Okay.
Uma Reddy. So she's saying that it has been asking for password.
Let me see if I can- How is it asking? I mean, it didn't ask others.
Maybe I can try leaving and joining again.
Yeah, see, the
Okay, give me a
password
minute.
is there in that link.
Yeah, I gave a link. Share the link again, but she's saying that let me try again.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Okay.
It worked for me. So,
It worked?
yeah, yeah.
Worked for you?
It's not a password.
Yeah,
Your Oracle link.
right. Yeah, it should just
Okay,
work.
I'll give you a try.
Since you're saying that you can just join with this,
Okay, very
yeah,
good.
just message directly. Yeah,
Sure.
thank you. Yeah, we'll discuss these concepts later. Yeah. Now I want to, yeah. So let's quickly look at this. The purpose of Vedic literature. So in this world, we are primarily concerned with our bodily needs. How do I maintain my body? How do I maintain my family? You know, we are, how do I maintain my health? Generally focused on material energy. Vedic literature helps us move beyond the material concerns to spiritual concerns. Because ultimately we are a soul trapped in the body. We are not the body having a soul. We are actually the soul trapped in the body. So if we always look after only material needs, our life, you know, remains purposeless, and also we are not really happy unless we come to the platform of spirit and act at the platform of spirit. We cannot be truly happy. I was giving the example of the example of a person in the desert. If suppose there is a person uh, in the desert, and uh, he was very thirsty, what is the benefit of giving a drop of water to such a person who is in the desert and very thirsty? Similarly, anything that you gain in this world, you may you may earn a lot of money, or you may uh, have the best house or the best car. Anything that you have in this world does not satisfy the heart, the soul, because that's the nature of the material energy. You may get it, you may feel happy for some time, but yeah, I mean, after uh, getting a very nice car, how long will you be happy? Maybe 1 week, 10 days. After that, it becomes a new normal. If you don't have it, you will become miserable, right? So anything, we should not base our happiness on material things alone. We have a higher purpose. So when we understand the spiritual part of our life, then we actually start seeing the purpose of life. We'll see um, living with a more, living with a more, what do you call, living a purposeful life, and everything looks very harmonious in this world. Everything makes complete sense once you get the spiritual understanding of life. Yeah, this is not related now. Yeah. Then, essence of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. By adopting the principles enunciated in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, one can perfect their life and permanently solve all the problems of life. So Bhagavad Gita helps us solve the real problems of life. Yeah. Now let's quickly go through benefits of studying Bhagavad Gita. Gita Sastram idam punyam yah patet prayatah puman, which means if one properly follows the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, one can be freed from all the miseries and anxieties of human life. So just by studying Gita, samsara malanashana, meaning all the impurities of material existence will be vanquished completely. All the anxieties, miseries, things that we are always worried about, they're all because of the incomplete understanding of life. That's what is causing all those anxieties. Now, when we have clarity of understanding of why everything is happening the way it is happening, what is the real purpose of life, how am I leading towards the real goal of life, we have much more clarity. When the clarity arrives in our life, then your life becomes purposeful, meaningful, and you are no more morose for the anxieties and miseries caused by the material life. Yeah. And it bhaya shokadi varjitaha, one will be freed from all fears in this life, and one's next life will be spiritual. In this life, everybody is fearful. Why fear comes to us, if you may ask? The fear is the reason for fear in our life is because of the disharmony between our true existence and our current existence. What is our true nature? We are actually the spirit, the soul. The soul's nature is that it is eternal. It has no death. It is existing eternally. It has existed in the past, it is existing in the current, it will exist eternally. Chit, it is full of knowledge, and Ananda, it is full of happiness. But the body that is covering us right now is Achit, temporary. The body that you have, you're going to change after, say 100 years. You're no more carrying the current body. You will move on to a new body. And full of ignorance, it is Achit, right? We learn from ABCD when you start your life, because when you change your body again, you start from ABCD. You don't, or you learned, say you did a PhD in your past life, you cannot retain that knowledge in this life. You have to again start from ABC. So that's why it's called Achit. And then Nirananda means no happiness, always, because there are very small, many very less reasons to be happy many times in this life, right? For example, you are trying to eat sweet, okay? So for example, suppose you become the president of United States of America, okay? And your oaths taking ceremony is happening. You're walking towards the podium. While walking, you stepped on a very sharp thing on the way. Immediately so much pain comes, isn't it? All the happiness of becoming uh, elected as the president of the country is gone in moment. So similarly, all your happiness can be hampered by an instant that happens in a split second. So naturally that causes anxiety, because there is uncertainty about future. But when we understand that we are not this physical body, we are actually the spirit soul, eternal, and it is full of bliss. When we understand, not only understand, when we slowly start living at that level, at the platform of the soul, then the externalities of life do not bother so much. For example, another example I'll give you. For example, suppose you are at uh, there is a volcano, very huge volcano up somewhere, and now you are standing at the foothill of the volcano, and the volcano starts erupting. It's such a scary, anxietyful situation, isn't it? But now, take the example. You're the same person, but now you're flying in an airplane right above the volcano. Now you are just an observer. You're not participating actively in the volcanic eruption by staying at the bottom of the, at the foothill of the volcano. Now you become an observer. You don't get uh, scared of the situation. The reason is your perception has changed. The level of you're at a elevation level that is beyond the volcano. You cannot be disturbed by it. So similar thing happens when you spiritualize your life. Right now the anxieties of material life are there because we are so much bogged down by the bodily conception of life. All the fears, am I doing my job correctly? Will my job be there tomorrow? All these anxieties are there because our perception of life is at the bodily platform. But when we raise our consciousness, raise our consciousness to beyond the body, then these anxieties will slowly subside. It is just matter of time. As you study Gita, slowly your perceptions of life keep changing. And then one day you completely realize actually you are not this body. When you come to that understanding, then no matter, you may lose your job, you may become pauper, everybody rejects in the world, Doesn't matter, as long as your connection with God is strong, you're not, you always see that connection, right? That's called Sushupti stage, the highest stage, when your consciousness is fully absorbed in the God, right? In the Paramatma. Right now, the soul, within the heart, right, is, its consciousness is focused outward, completely outward. It is, I see some nice sweet, I like to eat it. There is, the sweet is a sense object. I'm using my senses, my eyes, and getting attracted. I want to taste it and enjoy it. That is my consciousness. My consciousness is always outward flowing, isn't it? But when a yogi, for a yogi, the consciousness is inward. Just like now for us, it is outward. It is going outward and trying to enjoy things of this world. For the yogi, it's like a, it's like a torchlight that is trying to see the world outside. The torchlight turns inward, focuses on the super soul, the God within. Then he is always in that connection, and he is always blissful. The soul is eternal, super soul is eternal, the relationship is eternal, and so he is in full happiness. He's always blissful. Even though he is in the world, even though he is functioning as a husband, as an employee in a company, doesn't matter. You don't need to give up your profession to become a spiritualist. You continue, just like Arjuna. Arjuna was, after hearing Bhagavad Gita, he didn't stop fighting. He didn't become a sannyasi. He continued understanding the real purpose of life, doing his duty with utmost absorption in God. He was doing his service as a fighter to protect dharma. So that's what is the transformation that we are going to go through as we study and understand and apply the principles of Gita. So it eliminates bhaya and soka. Yeah, in Gita Mahatma, Padma Purana, Lord Shiva glorifies Bhagavad Gita in this way. If one reads Bhagavad Gita very sincerely and with all seriousness, then by the grace of the Lord, the reactions of his past misdeeds will not act upon him. All of us have past karma. Whatever we have today is because of the karma that we did in the past. Right? So when we study Gita every day, if possible, when we hear Gita lessons, slowly the reactions of the past will subside. We still will have some reaction. Doesn't mean that you are not going to get any disease, you're not going to get any more problems of life. It will be there, but they will be minimized by the grace of God. That's what it means. Yeah. This is a promise from Lord. Even in Bhagavad Gita 18th chapter, Lord Krishna speaks this. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Krishna gives direct promise. If you surrender unto me, I will deliver you from all the sinful reactions. You don't need to fear. What do you mean by delivering from your sinful reactions? Means once your reactions are nullified, you don't need to again come to this material world. This world is called material world, where people are mrityu samsara. Samsara sagara is another term for this. Cycle of repeated birth and death. This is a place of cycle of repeated birth and death. Why we repeatedly come to this world? Because we have some karmic debt we need to exhaust. While living in this world, we keep on incurring good karma and bad karma. You do good things, you get good karma. You do bad things, you get bad karma. Both bind us to this world. Meaning, when you do good things, suppose you did some charity, which is a good thing, you helped somebody, but your understanding is that you are the helper, you are the doer, for example, right? You thought, hey, I'm a very nice person, I'm a very charitable person, I have so much money, I want to donate. You did that. And so, as a result, you get some good karma. And so in the future birth, you may, because you are charitable in your previous life, now you get a life where you have abundance in your existence, in your, in your next life. You never have to worry about minimum needs because you have acted in a pious way. Similarly, suppose somebody kills another person, he has to be killed by that person. It is nature works in, every action has proper and opposite reaction, right? Newton's law. That's exactly how karma works. For every one of our actions, there is a reaction, consequence. There is nothing, maybe in this world, a criminal with political influence can escape punishment. But in the records of karmic bonds, nobody can escape. They may be slow in this life or next life, they are going to catch up with you. You cannot escape the reactions to the past misdeeds or good things that you have done. Gita teaches how to nullify all your past sinful activities as well as good activities. Even good karma brings you back to this world to enjoy the fruits of the good work you did. A yogi does not want to incur either good or bad. When we act in relationship, now another way to act in charity, you still act to give charity, but your understanding is that, hey, I come to this world with nothing, I go out of this world with nothing, I am just a, right now whatever is in my hand is just, the grace of God. I'm just a trustee of the things that I have in my possession, and and the best use is to help other children of God. I'm a child of God, and I want to help other children of God. If that is your consciousness, see, I mean, both people are charitable. The first person is charitable, but his understanding is he's doing as if he is the doer. The second person is doing as if he is acting on behalf of God. The second one does not incur good or bad karma. Instead, actually, it nullifies his bad or good karma in the past, because he is acting with the proper consciousness, proper understanding. So that makes all the difference. So when we learn Gita, our perception of the things change. Means you act in relationship with God. You act with the higher understanding. Those actions will not incur any good or bad reactions. Therefore, when you nullify all your good and bad, where is the question of taking another birth? That is the simple formula to understand self-realization. Self-realization means you get out of all the bonds that you have in this existence, in this material body. When you come out of that, you have no need to take another birth in this existence, and you will be transferred to Vaikuntha planets. So that is the whole idea of the Vedic wisdom, Gita wisdom. It's easy to hear, it's easy to speak, but it's not easy to follow. It takes time, it takes practice, it takes guidance, but over a period of time, it's achievable. Yeah, so when you surrender unto me, what does it mean? It's not literal surrender. It means that you understand and follow the instructions of Gita and apply in your life. That's what Krishna wants. So that's what happens. And what does Gita do? One may cleanse himself daily by taking bath in water. But if one takes a bath even once in the sacred Ganges water of Bhagavad Gita, for him the dirt of material life is altogether vanquished, completely vanquished. When we take bath, it cleanses our body. Every day we take bath, otherwise we smell, right? We need to take bath. We need to clean our body inside and outside. Similarly, every morning, if we can cleanse our consciousness by the wisdom words of Gita, it has the same purifying effect. Just like you need to clean your body every day, we also should take few moments to actually clean our consciousness by reading or by hearing Gita. I shared shlokas of Gita with all of you in the WhatsApp group. You can all hear for some time every day, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, while going, while cooking, while cleaning your home. You can just keep the audio on. When you hear that wisdom, that you don't know what is happening, it is working. Just like when you take a tablet, you don't know how exactly it is going inside your body and working to fix the problem. Similarly, when you keep hearing Gita wisdom, it has the potency. It transforms you. You don't know how you are transforming, but the work is in progress. It keeps happening. Because Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one need not read any other Vedic literature because it is the highest wisdom given directly by the Lord Himself. One need only attentive and regularly hear and read Bhagavad Gita. In the present days, people are so absorbed in mundane activities that it is not possible for them to read all the Vedic literatures. But this is not necessary. This one book, Bhagavad Gita, will suffice because it is the essence of all Vedic literatures, and especially because it is spoken by the Lord Himself. And next, one who drinks the water of Ganges attains salvation. So, what to speak of one who drinks the nectar of Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita is the essential nectar of Mahabharata and is spoken by Lord Krishna Himself. This is essential verse. Sarvopanishado gavo dogdha gopalanandana pardavatsa sudirbhokta dugdham gitamritam mahat. This Gita Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, the essence of all the Upanishads, is just like a cow. And Lord Krishna, who is famous as a coward boy, is milking this cow. Arjuna is just like a calf. And learned scholars and pure devotees are to drink the nectarine milk of Bhagavad Gita. The Vedic wisdom is vast, as we discussed last week as well as this week. It is virtually impossible for anybody to actually study everything. It is like the body of a cow. What is the essence of the cow? It's udder. And Lord Krishna, who is like an expert coward boy, he is actually milking the cow, the essence of all the Vedic wisdom, and giving that to calf Arjuna in a loving way. And all of us, after Arjuna drinks, we all get to hear it. We all get to take the same benefit that Arjuna had taken while hearing directly from Krishna. Yeah. Ekam sastram devaki putram devaki putra gitam eko devo devaki putra eva eko mantrastasya namani yani karma pi ekam tasya devasya seva. In this present day, people are very much eager to have one scripture, one God, one religion, and one occupation. Therefore, Ekam Sastram Devaki Putra Gitam, let there be one scripture only, one common scripture for the whole world, Bhagavad Gita. Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva, let there be one God for the whole world, Sri Krishna. Eko Mantras Tasya Namani, and one hymn, one mantra, one prayer, one chanting of his name, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Ekam Tasya Devasya Seva, and let there be one work, only one, the service to God. So this is Gita Mahatmya, spoken, the words directly spoken by Lord Shiva to Parvati, Mother Parvati. from Padma Purana. And this is the disciplic section. If anybody wants to know how the teachings that we are presenting in this presentation starting from next week, it is all based on this line of teachers. You see, it starts with Krishna, then Brahma, Narada, Vyasa, Madhva, Padmanabha, Nrihari, Madhava, Akshobhya, Jaitirtha, Janasindhu, Dayanidhi, Vidyanidhi. The list goes on, list goes on. And A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is the founder of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. You see, the line of teachers is unbroken. The pictures are also here. Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita has 700 verses, about 100 short themes of 7 to 8 verses. And in this entire Gita, there are 1 sloka spoken by Dhritarashtra, 41 slokas spoken by Sanjaya, the secretary of Dhritarashtra, while the Gita was being spoken in the battlefield between Arjuna and Krishna. The same thing was observed by Sanjaya in the palace. You may wonder how it is possible for Sanjaya to see. So in the previous ages, people, especially Sanjaya, was blessed by his teacher Vyasadeva to have this Divya Drishti, to actually, it's like a television. The fight is happening, and Sanjaya, within his heart, he closes his eyes and sees within the heart exactly what is happening in the battlefield. And that happened by the mercy of his teacher Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva was the teacher of Sanjaya. And so he was able to relate whatever he is seeing to Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra inquires what is happening in the battlefield, and Sanjaya relates all this discussion. Actually, the whole discussion was in the words of Sanjaya as he speaks. The entire 700 verses, the recorder was actually Sanjaya. Arjuna speaks 84. Primarily, these are questions. And Lord Krishna speaks the maximum content, 574 verses. Primarily answering Arjuna in multiple verses. And we take A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's book as the reference material for all the classes that we're going to do. Starting next week, we'll do Bhagavad Gita verses. And so it is 1 hour. I have a quick presentation. Let me open up. Before we begin Bhagavad Gita, we want to understand who is Krishna. Some people may wonder, hey, maybe you have a specific liking for Krishna and so you want to worship Krishna. Or, I like black color, so I like Krishna. Or, people may consider various things as the reasons to accept Krishna as authority. But that's not how we accept Krishna as the supreme teacher. It is based on the wisdom of the scriptures. Let's see what the different scriptures, including Bhagavad Gita, speak about Krishna himself. This is from Bhagavad Gita, 4th chapter, 1st verse. Imam vivasvate yogam proktavan aham avyayam vivasvan manve praha manur ikshvakave bhrave. The personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna says, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to sun god Vivasvan, and Vivasvan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikshvaku. So this knowledge is given by Krishna in the past, several millennia ago, several thousands of years ago, to Vivasvan, the same wisdom. So this wisdom is not new, and it is eternal. It is going to stay intact. It is going to be there after millions of years after now also. Yeah, Manu is the no, the beginner of the mankind. We are all named after Manu. Man is named after Manu. And then 7th chapter 26 verse. O Arjuna, as the supreme personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all things that are yet to come. I also know all living entities, but me no one knows. So Lord accompanies every jiva. Krishna is not a distinct personality somewhere in Vaikuntha. He is there within each of us. His powers are incomparable. We can't even conceive with our tiny brains who is God, what are his powers, how he acts in this world. We don't know. We have nothing. Our capacity is so limited. He knows each of our actions. It's mentioned in another verse, it's not here. Upadrishta cha anumanta cha bhatta bhokta maheshwara. Upadrishta, I am the overseer of every living entity. He knows before you know anything. He sees everything that you do. He is the constant observer of our actions by staying within the heart. He knows. He knows our desires and he sanctions. He is the sanctioner. He is the bestower of, if I desire something, say I want to lift my hand. I only desired. I don't have the capacity to lift my hand. I'm the soul within. I'm the soul, the small, tiny living entity within the body. This body is a presentation given to me by God for this lifetime. This is not mine. This body is a temporarily owned by me. And when I desire to lift, Lord orders the body to lift and it works. Just like when you're driving car, you just press a button. You just desire. You're not pushing the car. The car moves by the force of the engine. Similarly, this human body or any living entity, any living body is like a car. And it is functioned by the engine of God, by the engine called God. So understand this is a deeper concept. So we have within us, there is soul and the super soul. There are two things. The super soul is the reflection of God. God is there, but he also reflects in every living entity as the super soul. Now, when we desire, we keep desiring, we keep asking for so many things in our life. We work towards so many things. Ultimately, based on your karmic, based on your karma, God sanctions what you can do, what you cannot do. Accordingly, he gives the results of your actions. And so he's like a constant guide within you. He's just that we're turned away from God. That's why we can't perceive God in our life. But when we understand Gita wisdom, start connecting with the dots better, slowly we'll understand that actually God is there with me all the time. If nobody's there with me also, there is God. And I'm never alone in this journey, in this life. I'm never alone. I always have the company of God with me. So that's what this means. And no one really knows God ultimately. We will know only to the extent God reveals us in the scriptures like Gita. But no one fully knows God. Yeah, even the hosts of demigods, not the great sages, know my origin or opulences. For in every respect, I am the source of demigods and sages. All the great demigods, Indra, Varuna, Vayu, who are all these people? Many people think, our Hinduism is a pantheism where we have 3 crore gods. They are gods, they're all gods, but they are not God. They are empowered representatives of God. Just like we are all people of the country, citizens of the country, we also have some citizens who are elevated to be the cabinet ministers, people representatives. They are people representatives, right? They act to, they act as the assistants to the president of the country. President is the ultimate ruler. Similarly, God or Vishnu Tattva, or, per se, Sri Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and all these demigods, whether it is Indra, Varuna, Vayu, Vinayaka, all these are demigods. They are empowered representatives of God. They, just like cabinet ministers, they act under God's supervision ultimately. So Krishna is saying, neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences. For in every respect, I am the source of all of them. If I am the source of something, the resultant product will never know me fully, isn't it? O Arjuna, whatever you wish to see, behold at once in this body of mine. This universal form can show you whatever you now desire to see and whatever you may want to see in the future. Everything moving and non-moving is here completely in one place. So this is at the time of showing his universal form. Krishna reveals a gigantic universal form in the 11th chapter discussion. Arjuna was completely shocked to see this universal form of God. In that form, he sees everything, the whole existence, all the Varunas, he sees Lord Shiva, everybody is there in that form. Ultimately, Arjuna understands that everybody comes from this, the Supreme Lord, Krishna. I'm the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotion service and worship me with all their hearts. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. Very beautiful verse. This is another beautiful verse. Sarvasya chaham hridisannivishto matta smritirjnanam apohanam cha vedaischa sarvairahameva vedyo vedanta kritveda videva chaham. I am seated in everyone's heart. From me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. See, I'm talking about the Paramatma aspect of God. God expands, just like sun expands into pots of water. God expands into the Paramatma aspect within everybody. And by all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta and I am the knower of the Vedas. I am the giver of the Vedas. Vedas are not coming from any human. It is coming from God himself. So you see God revealing the Vedic wisdom in the heart of his sages. Because I am transcendental beyond both the fallible and infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in this world and in the Vedas as that supreme person. You see, he's clearly referring to this world and also Vedas. Vedas also describe about Krishna vividly. See, he's referring to two kinds of people, fallible and infallible. Anybody remembers? Fallible are living entities in this world, are the conditioned souls. Conditioned souls means the souls having material body. I was discussing, there are 95% of the living entities in the spiritual world, in the Vaikuntha planets. The people of the material world are only 5%. A simple analogy to understand. If suppose, the government is planning to construct a new city. They want to establish a new city in a vacant place. And they want to have, say, 5,000 people in this place. So they would plan for the roads, they would plan for, different offices, sanitation, irrigation, all the departments, right? They have to plan all of that. And along with everything, they will also plan one more thing. What is that? They will plan for a prison house. While most of the citizens follow the law of the land, there will always be people who do not follow the law, the transgressors. There will be people who violate traffic laws. There'll be people who do burglary. There will be always people who violate the laws. While 95% of the citizens live in the, live comfortably in the cities, in their homes, with their families, following all the laws, there will be at least 5% of the people who violate the law, and they'll be put in the jail. So the city, along with everything, they also plan for a small jail, so that people who do not follow the law, they'll be quarantined in that place. And once they go through reformation, correct their behavior, correct their understanding of life, they can come back and live with the normal citizens. Similarly, the jivas in Vaikunta are all like the law-abiding, citizens in perfect relationship with God. But the jivas in this world, which includes all of us, we have, we have come out of that world. Now we have to again realize ourselves to go back to that world. So that is, we are the infallible and the infallible that, God is referring here. We all have the chance. At least now you all have come to Gita wisdom. Now you are learning Gita. Now you are right on the path. It's just matter of time. We can all join together and go back to again to the place where we belong, to the Vaikuntha planets. But understand, we are the minimal, we are the 5% janta, not just the human being. It includes all the rats, animals, everything that is within this material existence is called fallible living entities. Fallible means fallen. It's within this world, and it can go back to its original existence. It just needs to understand and realize, yes, everything here is temporary. I'm hankering for so many things. I'm trying to enjoy, but ultimately I'm not the enjoyer. As soon as he understands that, he becomes fixed in his purpose of life, and he is very clear, and he ultimately works towards that. And through the wisdom of Gita, it elevates him back to his original place where he comes. That's called Swarupa Siddhi. That is called self-realization. Self-realization means situate yourself where you really belong. Realize your true nature. Swarupa Siddhi. Yeah. O conqueror of wealth. Arjuna is called Dhananjaya. That's why it's called conqueror of wealth. There is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on thread. You see a pearl necklace? A pearl necklace, you'll see, you may be very much surprised by the beauty of the pearl necklace. But the whole pearls, all these pearls are able to withhold themselves on the strength of the underlying thread, isn't it? Similarly, we may not see God in our experience because of our senses are not purified yet, but everything is run by God behind the scenes. You may not see it. Just like he's saying, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. When you see a necklace, you don't see the thread within. You see only the pearls. You see the existence of God, but you don't see the person behind the existence. So similarly, nobody can see the God behind everything existence, everything that exists. But he is the one who is running the show behind the scenes. We may not understand the purpose. Today we have COVID. You may not understand with your naked eye, if God is there, why is there so much calamity? You may ask, right? We'll discuss this in depth. Actually, there is a proper understanding to arrive at. We may not see with our naked eye the real purpose of all of this, but there is a perfect purpose behind everything that happens. Arjuna said in Bhagavad Gita, you are the supreme personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. All the great sages, it's not only me, all the great sages such as Narada, Ashita, Devala and Vyasa confirm this truth about you, and now you yourself are declaring it unto me. Very beautiful verse. Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Saswatam Divyam Adidevam Ajam Vibhum. All the various manifestations of Lord Shiva, the Adityas, the Vasus, Sandhyas, the Visvadevas, the Ashwini Kumaras, two Ashwini Kumaras, Maruts, the forefathers, the grand Gandharvas, the Yakshas, the Asuras, and the perfected demigods are all beholding you in wonder. So everybody is watching all, in that universal form, Arjuna sees all these forms. That's what he is explaining as he sees that. And Srimad Bhagavatam, which is another scripture, which is given by Vyasadeva. That is his final book. The final scripture with the most deepest understanding of Vyasadeva was Srimad Bhagavatam. It is the best book to study. After studying Gita, if you have time, you can study Bhagavatam, or even during Gita also you can study it. It's the most satisfying book to read. And the first verse, Vyasadeva speaks like this. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge onto the heart of Brahmaji, from whom our parampara comes. The original living being. Brahmaji is considered the secondary creator. The primary creator actually is Krishna himself, Govinda. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen in fire or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes, temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature, appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of material world, the world that we live in. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. This is prayer by Lord Brahma before, Vyasadeva. And it also interestingly mentions that the Vedic knowledge was revealed in the heart of Brahmaji, the first living entity in this existence. We'll learn about Brahma and all later on. These are not fictitious. That's what we hear in the media, mainstream media. They think all these are all made up stories. No, actually, it is absolute wisdom. It's just that people do not understand from proper sources. You'll all go through all of this. You will really appreciate. Actually, all of this it comes as a living wisdom to all of you as we study Gita. These are not fictitious. Brahma is there right now also. He is in a different planetary system. He is in Brahmaloka right now. Yeah. So just because we can't, we can't understand through scientific means doesn't mean that these things don't exist. It's just, as we discussed, human capacity is limited. We have 4 defects. We cannot understand everything. It's just like an ant trying to, suppose an ant is there in my building. Do you think that ant understands my building? It cannot. People come to understand that human means, yes, we should understand everything. And whatever we don't understand doesn't exist. As if we are the pinnacle of existence and there is nothing beyond. It's not like that. I mean, there is, take it in a humble position, there is much beyond what we can know but through our senses. All the knowledge that we gain is through senses, but our senses are limited. So the wisdom that comes from scriptures is beyond the senses. So it speaks of things that are beyond the purview of science. Doesn't mean that it is wrong. Just because you can experientially verify these knowledge, you cannot experimentally verify. Experiments limit you to only things that you can verify with your senses. You can measure gravity because uh, you can use physical apparatus to do that. It is a physical perceivable law. But there are laws like karma theory that you cannot perceive with your senses directly. You can experientially verify. So the spiritual science is more of an experiential science. It's not an experimental science. Means the philosophy given here, it talks about soul, it talks about karma. All of this can be realized through the practice of yoga. We learn yoga. Every chapter of Bhagavad Gita is yoga. And as we learn, we start practicing, everything becomes a practical reality in your life. All of this comes, just like any science begins with, some mere a statement, or to put forward it begins with a statement, and you go observe in the world, some samples to prove your statement, and then, through experimentation, you with all the wisdom, you ultimately verify actually this is true across the world. For example, I'll give you an example. Suppose I am the authority on crows. A simple example I always give here. And to become the authority, so my claim is that all the crows are black. And I would call my friend in Texas. I'll check, hey, are the crows in your place black? He says, yes, they're black. I call some people in India. They say also, yes, crows are black here. I call some people in Europe. Yes, they also say. Then my theory that crows are black becomes a valid theory verified through experimentation. That's how science works. You start with observation, you make some you verify through some experiments, and then ultimately you come to conclusion that your original statement is true. Now after 10 years, because I'm the authority on crow, there was some propaganda that there was a white crow somewhere in Europe, and they would call me because I'm the authority of crows. They'll tell me, hey, we found a white crow. Then I would try to find if there is a white crow in somewhere else. I'll try to call elsewhere, everywhere else. And then I find, oh, there was also a white crow in South Africa. Okay, now my theory changes. My theory says crows are either black or white. This is the new theory. So this is how science works. Science keeps on changing. It keeps on improvising. That's why the whole idea of PhDs and research. There is a known wisdom and there is to be known wisdom. So that's why there is opportunity to always do some research. That's how science works. It works through experimentation. The spiritual science works through experience. It's also science. It's also verifiable in your experience. It's not by experiments. There is no apparatus to verify this. So as you study Gita, your consciousness transforms. Your outlook changes. There is such a transformative effect in your life that you can clearly see things very differently. So that's the way the spiritual science works. Yeah. By that confidential knowledge, I could understand clearly the influence of the energy of Lord Krishna, the creator, maintainer, annihilator of everything, by knowing that one can return to him and personally meet him. So in the eternal world, in the spiritual world, the life is permanent. Unlike here, you may live for 100 years here, but there it is eternal existence. The soul, that is within us, we discussed that it is Sat Chid Ananda. It is eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss, happiness. So that is the state in which it always exists in Vaikuntha. But here, because it is covered by this material body, because this guy wants to enjoy in this world. He is going through all the sufferings of this world. O Brahmana, thus by the Supreme Lord Krishna, I was endowed first with the transcendental knowledge of the Lord as inculcated in the comprehensive parts of the Vedas, then with the spiritual opulences, and then with his intimate loving service. This is Narada's words. This is words of Brahma. Let's see. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. This is Brahma speaking to Lord Krishna. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme Godhead. He has an eternal blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all, and he has no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all causes. He is the origin of everything. So this is spoken by Lord Brahma himself. And Bhishma, this is happening at the end of his life. He was about to give up his life, and Yudhishthira Maharaj inquires about how he can lead the kingdom. He receives the instruction. Lord Krishna actually asks Arjuna to inquire directly from Bhishma Dev. And Bhishma knows perfectly who is Krishna, and he speaks this verse. Towards the end of his life, ultimate words. This Sri Krishna is no other than the inconceivable original personality of Godhead. He is the first Narayana, the supreme enjoyer, but he is moving amongst the descendants of King Vrishni, just like one of us. And he is bewildering us with his self-created energy. You can understand from the words of Bhishma Deva very clearly that Krishna is not just like one among us. He is the Narayana himself. He is the supreme Narayana. Again, Lord Shiva told to Narada this way, nobody has greater knowledge than Lord Krishna, nor is there any other great yogi. Nobody is greater Siddha than Krishna, nor is there any God greater than him. This is by Ganesha, son of Lord Shiva. From Lord Krishna, gross and subtle worlds emanate, and again they merge into him. This happens again and again. 50 crore yojanas above Vaikuntha, Goloka is situated beyond Goloka. There is no other abode, and beyond Krishna there is no master. O Brahmana, I heard this from Lord Shiva, and that I have told you now. This is Mother Durga. In every universe, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara reside, but Lord Krishna is the Lord of all. Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, they all come from Krishna. So this is topmost knowledge, the essence of all Vedic study, performance of rituals, visiting holy places, severe penances, worship of demigods, and accumulating pious credits is to attain Sri Krishna. So this is the conclusion of Mother Durga. And this is the expansions, how actually this whole world and the creation works. This is a very detailed study. I don't want to go in depth right now. So you see Swamsa, Purusha avatars. From him, see, Lord Krishna is here. And from him comes Prabhava and Vaibhava Vilash. And then from Vaibhava Vilash comes Lord Narayana. And he expands into Chaturvyuha. This is a deep science in itself. Vasudeva, Shankarsan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. From this Sankarshan, again, Swamsa, Purushavataras come. From him comes the Mahavishnu that we all understand as the source of all the worlds. From his body comes all these, from the pores of his body comes all these worlds that are existing right now that we see. And he, this is all Krishna himself. He expands into this Vishnu form. He's called Karanodakshai Vishnu or Mahavishnu. From his body emanates the universes. And again, into each universe, he expands into another form. The same Vishnu, God is one. He expands into all these things in different capacities. So he's called Garbhodakshai Vishnu. Within one universe, there is one Vishnu. Just like this one body has soul, the ultimate entity within the body. Similarly, this one universe has this Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And from him comes again Karanodakshai Vishnu. And this Vishnu, from whom comes all the incarnations, Matsya, Leela Avataras come, Chaturyuha, Matsya, Naranarayana. All these called Leela avatars. And then Guna avatars, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara comes. You see, from Krishna, there are so many levels and layers, after which you see the current incarnations. Krishna himself directly comes as an incarnation. That's another thing. That's what happened 5,000 years back. The same Krishna who is at the top comes as another incarnation. But that happens only once in the day of Brahma. In the day of Brahma, about 1,000 times Krishna comes. Again, this is a deep science, very deep science. We'll discuss all of this, and appropriate slokas. We'll discuss these topics. And then there are Shaktavis avatars, Guna avatars. This is, Shiva is one Guna avatar of, you see, Karana, from who comes from Karanodaksa Vishnu, which comes from Garbhodaksa Vishnu, which comes from, level goes on. And this is all given in scriptures. This is not made up by anybody. This is perfect descriptions in scriptures. You read Srimad Bhagavatam, the conclusive scriptures of all the scriptures given by Vyasadeva. It has one full canto of thousands of verses describing all this. And all of this is becoming, for people of this world to understand in an easy way, all of this is represented in a very beautiful temple that's coming up in India, in West Bengal. It is being constructed with about a cost of almost 700 crore rupees. With all of this material creation, as given in Vedas, that's all coming up in a very nice, 3D show, and as well as physical views to see. This whole project is run by the, Ford, the head of Ford, Ambarish. His name is Ambarish. He's a follower of, our Vaishnava Sampradaya. He's running that project. In like 2-3 years, we'll all be able to see all of this. Is all very difficult to comprehend right now, but it becomes very easy to understand when it manifests fully in a physical form. I'll share with you a video of this whole creation, which quickly describes this whole pattern. Yeah, it may appear a little difficult. Don't worry if you don't understand. It's even difficult for me to comprehend fully at this point. Okay. Yeah. So Krishna in Bhagavad Gita in 4th chapter says this one beautiful verse: Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvata tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sojuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode. You see, he clearly refers there is a different existence beyond the current existence that we are in. The current existence Krishna refers to as material world, where jivas are covered with material bodies. But we have an existence beyond the material existence. And one who understands that Krishna is not like one of us, he is transcendental, he is beyond his activities, his appearance, janma, karma. When we come to this world, we come by force of our karma. We are forced to act. Sometimes we will be forced to be born in a very poor family, or like an animal, or like a ant, or a worm, or anything. We are forced by our karma because we did some bad activities. We are forced to become something. But when Krishna comes, he does not come by the force of his karma. He comes out of causeless mercy upon us. It's like, suppose there are prisoners, 100 prisoners in a prison. One time, president wants to see the prison. He comes, and all the prisoners think, oh, there is one more inmate now. People of the prison, they don't know, who is president. They think, oh, he's like one more now, one more among us. But actually, president coming to the prison is way different than, another resident coming to prison. In this world, all of us, we're all here in this world to exhaust our karma. There is no other real purpose actually. You may attribute so many things, but ultimately, you are here to exhaust you want to enjoy the fruits of your past actions. You are here just to exhaust your karma. But when Krishna comes, he doesn't come like one of us. His body is transcendental, and his activities are supramundane. That's why when he comes, it's like an advertisement. When he comes, he performs these beautiful leelas, with his boyfriends, gopas and gopis. Wonderful, the heart enchanting pastimes, beautiful pastime, so that attracts all the conditioned souls like all of us, and we feel the attraction to go back to God, our real Father, isn't it? So that is the whole purpose of our life, is to actually who realize our connection with God and go back to God. Yeah. And repeatedly all the acharyas speak the same thing. If an acharya doesn't speak that, that means that he's not giving the ultimate conclusion. So now here is Adi Shankaracharya, who is glorifying Gita like this. One who with a regulated mind recites with devotion this Bhagavad Gita scripture, which is the bestower of all virtue, will attain to a holy abode such as Vaikuntha, the residence of Lord Vishnu, which is always free from mundane qualities based on fear and lamentation. That's what happens in this world. Because you have subscribed, all your fear and lamentation will go down. Yeah, there are many more such verses. I'll share this PPT with all of you. All the material I'll share with you. So no worries. I'll stop here. We're already 1.5 hours. So thank you all for attending. If you have questions, you can stay back and we can discuss. Otherwise, I'll share this recording with all of you. You can hear again, to consolidate your understanding. Again, I would like to see you all next week. Thank you all for joining. I hope, and if my speed or something is not making things clear, please let me know. I'm open for feedback. You can message me on WhatsApp, or you can stay back in the call. We can discuss. We can connect in person. Everything is welcome. So from next week we'll start Bhagavad Gita discussion, Bhagavad Gita slokas. I hope many of you are waiting. Actually, some 2-3 people I talked to, I was talking to individuals, connecting to individuals. Some of them mentioned that they want to start hearing Bhagavad Gita slokas. Yes, I'm also eager. So all this introduction sets us with the right frame of mind. We'll understand who is Krishna and all of these things. Now with this proper understanding, when we start Gita, we'll understand and appreciate the wisdom there. Yeah, if you have any questions, you can stay back or you can ask right now. Hare Krishna, somebody asked some questions in the group. You can stay back if you want to discuss now, or you can, we can have a call after this meeting. Okay, if there are no questions, I'll end the call here. Thank you all for joining. Yeah, anytime, feel free to message me. We can discuss, in the evenings after office hours, I can speak. Thank you, Shivani. Thank you for sharing that you lead the class.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Prabhu. Oh yeah, Srijit and Aranya, your microphone is not working. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we can have a call after the class. Yeah. I'll just quickly stop the recording. So we can... Thank you, Nitin Prabhu.